Good evening, boys and girls. It is me. I really enjoyed talking to all of y'all today. Well, as many of y'all that I did talk to. I hope y'all liked the boy group and the girl group thing. Hopefully it made things a little bit easier for talking. We'll try next week and see how that goes. Again, if y'all have any ideas on what we can do, go ahead and let me know and we will try to make it happen. All right, today's story is called Don't Eat the Bluebonnets. And I love this. This is cute because it really has to do with Texas. So we'll see what happens here. All right. For a cow, Sue Ellen had a mind of her own. When the other cows mooed, Sue Ellen whistled. When Max the Longhorn gave an order, all the cows snapped at attention, except Sue Ellen. She just swished her tail, batted her lashes, and smelled the daisies. She's not a very good listener. Every spring, Max puts up a sign in Sue Ellen and Lisa Jean's favorite pasture. "Humph," Sue Ellen said. "Max is not the boss of me. He can't tell me what to do." With that, she hooked tails with Lisa Jean and they sashayed across the field. "I can eat the bluebonnets if I want to," she snorted. "The bluebonnets won't come back next spring if you eat them," Lisa Jean warned. "But we eat the grass and it comes back," Sue Ellen argued. "That's true," replied Lisa Jean, "but bluebonnets are different. They won't come back." Having a mind of her own, Sue Ellen wasn't totally convinced. The next day, when Sue Ellen and Lisa Jean arrived at the south pasture, the bluebonnets were just starting to pop up. Sue Ellen's mouth watered. "Don't forget, we're not supposed to eat the bluebonnets," Lisa Jean reminded her. "I'm not eating them, I'm just looking at them," Sue Ellen said, licking her lips. As she stood beside the pond, Sue Ellen stuck her nose in the air and took a deep breath. "Don't the bluebonnets smell yummy?" "Don't eat the bluebonnets," Lisa Jean reminded her. Sue Ellen licked her lips again. "I'm not eating them, I'm just smelling them." She swished her tail. "Water comes back to the pond every year, doesn't it?" she muttered. Later, as Sue Ellen and Lisa Jean were grazing in the shade of the big oak tree, Sue Ellen noticed one small, perfect bluebonnet. It looked delicious. Her mouth watered. "Don't eat the bluebonnets," Lisa Jean reminded her. Sue Ellen stuck her tongue out and licked the perfect flower. "I'm not eating it, I'm just licking it." She looked up at the trees and swished her tail. "The leaves on the trees come back every year, don't they?" she said. "So do the birds," said Sue Ellen, and they watched the mockingbirds teach their babies to fly. "I guess they do," Lisa Jean said, and she watched each baby leave the nest and return safely. By the end of the week, the bluebonnets covered the pasture, and Sue Ellen couldn't stop thinking about them. She imagined how the petals would taste sliding down her throat. Sue Ellen thought about the water in the pond, and she remembered the leaves coming back every spring, and she watched the birds fly by. And with that, she charged into the south pasture and ate every single bluebonnet. Sue Ellen was so full she had to lie under the big oak tree and take a nap. When Sue Ellen opened her eyes, Max was standing over her. "Huh," complained Max. "Somebody ate all the bluebonnets." "So what? They'll just grow back next year." "Sometimes nature needs some help," Max mumbled. "We'll just wait and see," yawned Sue Ellen. So they waited. The spring faded. The summer came and went. In the fall, the leaves fell. The winter chill blew in from the north. Sue Ellen and Lisa Jean thought spring would never come. Then the days began to grow longer and the snow started to melt. When the spring grass grew so tall that they tickled their bellies, they knew it was time to head to the south pasture where the bluebonnets grew. When they reached the pasture that morning, they saw Max carrying his sign. "Well, Sue Ellen, I guess we won't be needing this sign since the bluebonnets haven't grown back," Max bellowed. All the cows glared at Sue Ellen. I wonder why they didn't grow back. I wonder if you know. Having a mind of her own, Sue Ellen decided to take charge. If the bluebonnets won't come back, she thought, I'll bring them back myself. With that, she swished her tail and headed to the north pasture to gather some of the bluebonnets growing there. Bluebonnets are bluebonnets, she said. I'll just move the bluebonnets from the north pasture to the south pasture. By midday, the bluebonnets had wilted and were so flat that even the bees couldn't find the pollen in them. Having a mind of her own, Sue Ellen decided to take charge. Bluebonnets are bluebonnets. I'll just paint them on the hay, she thought as she grabbed her paints. As Sue Ellen finished painting the last bale of hay, she glanced up and exclaimed in shock, well, that isn't going to work for long. Having a mind of her own, Sue Ellen didn't give up. She took her paints, scissors, construction paper, and glue and headed to the south pasture. By the end of the day, the field was alive with paper bluebonnets that Sue Ellen had made herself. She's trying to fix her problem. She's trying to fix the problem she created. That night, a Texas-sized thunderstorm woke Sue Ellen up. Lightning lit up the sky. The thunder boomed and the rain soaked the ground. What happened to the paper? When Sue Ellen and Lisa Jean got to the pasture the next morning, the paper bluebonnets had blown away. I guess only real bluebonnets are the blue of the sky, and only real bluebonnets have that wonderful smell, and only real bluebonnets are worth licking, she sighed. So, having a mind of her own, Ellen decided to take charge. That night, she went to the south pasture and planted a packet of Max's seeds she had found in the barn. When the next spring came, Sue Ellen took out her paints and freshened up Max's sign. Max, she said, batting her lashes, will you please put the sign up again? He laughed. There's no need. The bluebonnets won't be back. Are they? Having a mind of her own, Sue Ellen decided to take charge. She took the sign and planted it firmly in the ground where Max had put it before. It wasn't long before their favorite pasture was beautiful again. Having a mind of her own, Sue Ellen decided she could look at the bluebonnets, smell the bluebonnets, lick the bluebonnets, but she could not eat the bluebonnets. Super cute. So y'all probably have wondered, and I know I thought it is interesting that the bluebonnets are all of a sudden gone, and a lot of them are on Highway 16 or maybe even in y'all's yards. And I think it's interesting that they just come back every April. They go dormant. That was something that we learned in science class. We just didn't get to finish that unit. So anyway, it was nice to talk to you guys today. It was nice to read y'all a book, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.